I don't want to use them in the necessarily the traditional sense. I know a lot of people are making tags, or you see other people making tags and you wonder what do you do with them. Like an ACEO or an ATC, you could trade them, but tags aren't really ATCs. So I thought that I would show you one way that you can use tags in your art journal that's a little bit different. And this is going to be basically collage. And we're going to tip these in to a journal page. And I think I've seen something similar to this before, so it's not a brand new idea. I just buy my tags in a bulk package like this, and I've had these for probably a year. It comes in 100 tags. I just get them from the office supply store. And I like the manilla tags, or you can get them in white as well. So I first need to, this is all the collage supplies that I pulled out to use, and I'm just trying to go with similar color scheme to what was already for this page, because that's where I'm going to tip in the tags to. And then I picked out enough tags to cover a page, so I'm just going to double check, because when I first looked at them, they had the wires on them. Now I'm just kind of guessing approximately, and I think I end up having a lot extra, so I think it'll be fine. So we'll end up somewhere like that after we cut the excess off and reuse it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 tags, and we need to decorate them both front and back. So I'm going to move the journal out of the way for right now. And I'm also going to move all my collage items. There's one collage item that I want to use right away, though, because it's fabric and it takes a little while for the glue to dry. So I'm going to actually start my first tag with the fabric. Now this fabric I got, it's cut into a quilt square because I got it from my mom, who quilts, and she just made me this awesome quilted bag. And this was a piece of the leftover scrap fabric from my bag. And so I told her I would use this stuff in my journal. And I'm just using a glue stick and just an old card to smooth it out. And let's see, yeah, it's gonna go over. And I could just cut that off, but instead I'm just going to glue it over. And so now this will be a little bit tacky as the glue seeps into the fabric, so this way it'll have a little time to dry. And I'm just going to find the little tag corners.
And then I'm just going to set this one aside and let that glue stick dry a little bit. And then for some of these, I'm really gonna do them all very differently. Here I've got, this is just a really cheap watercolor set that I had bought for my daughter a long time ago, and I have the watercolors in the tubes, and I just squeeze them out and continue to reuse this little palette here. I need to rearrange just a little bit real quick. I'm not quite prepared. And if you remember our original page layout was aqua, golden yellow, red, and then some various colors. There were some pastel colors in our balloons that the girl was holding on the opposite page. So I'm going to start with the watercolor, and I'm just going to use the red, so I'm just going to spray right into the red container. And I'm just going to pick up some of that color. And then I'm just going to dip my brush in water and pull that color up a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same color on the back of the tag. Let me see where it was stuck to the plastic cloth that I have down. It made a pattern. So I'm just going to set this one aside and let it dry a little bit. Now for the next one, I'm going to use both these portfolio and these gel sticks. So I have a blue-green, and then I'm actually going to blend it with this blue one because these spread really nicely over top of the portfolios. And then I'm going to add some of this bright yellow. Oops. And then some of this golden color. I really don't want to be bending these, but I think with this one I'm going to start with the golden color. And then I think this time I'm going to put some water on them because they are water soluble. I just really want to get color down at this point so that I can collage over the tags. I'm actually going to leave one tag without any color on it. I'm going to set that aside and let it dry. And I'm actually going to come back to this first one that we did, and I'm going to add some more color. I'm just putting some more of the red on so that it's really saturated. It's still a little wet. Again, I'll put that aside and let it dry. And then for this one, I'm going to use duct tape. And then this little piece that's left over, I'll probably use that as collage on a different piece. So I'm just going to take my credit card and emboss that down. And then for this top of it, I think I'll just put some teal aqua paint down. And then I think for the back of it, I'm going to use a stencil. And my teal paint that I use, I mixed it up as a spray, and if it's working today, just gonna put that there. Let that dry. And then I have these Shiva oil sticks, which are oil paint in a stick form. And let's see. I'm going to use a little bit of punchinella. And these are really soft. They blend a lot, and you're going to get texture where it's building up around the circles. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. this tiny little, well, actually I'm not going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use this tiny little alphabet stencil. I'm going to use a red spray. Oop. Throwing the lid around. This bottle is pretty messed up, so I'm going to take one of the blank tags and lay it down. I'm going to move this one out of the way. And then to decorate the back of this one, I'm going to use, let's find it, one of the colors that is dominant in the journal page that we're putting this on is the quinacridone nickel azo gold. So I'm going to use that here on the reverse side. This is a really strong color. Oop. Bending my tag again. I'm actually going to do one side of this one. I'm just not going to do both sides. And I think I'm going to do this by putting some color down on my sheet of glass that I have here, which needs to be cleaned, and adding some water so that I'm making a runny wash basically. And then I have this little makeup sponge. And I'm just going to dip it in there. And so this is almost like a texture more than it is or a pattern, I guess you should say, that gives the impression of texture. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. Okay, so now all of our tags have a little bit of something on them anyway. We've got the one that was fabric. We've got this rather plain one, this one, this one, this tag here, this one that we bent quite a bit, and then this little one with the bit of pattern, and then the other side is plain. So I'm going to dry these and I'll be right back. Okay, now of the different products that I used, the one that I have to work around is the Shiba Artist Paint Stick, the oil paint stick, because they don't dry. They take about 24 hours to dry. So I'll just need to be careful knowing that it's going to smear if I am not careful with it. So these are all the tags. Now there's a couple of things. I know that I don't want to cut this tag up, and I'll show you why that is as we go further on. So I really want this one to be a full tag, and I think I want this one to be a full tag mainly because I don't want to cut with the fabric, and you know, I mean, not that it probably matters, but so since I know that, I'm going to start decorating those tags first. And for this tag, I want to use this crazy guy image. I think I want to put him on there about like that. So I'm going to get my glue stick out. And I'm going to put my glue on. If you tend to rip your images when you're adding your glue stick on, go all the way off the image before you lift. And that should help with that. And then I always use a card to spread them and make sure I get them nice and flat, because you can burnish them down a bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue down the other parts of him to the back of the card, because we do definitely need front and back for this. Okay, so we've got this, and then we have this. So that gets that one started. Now for the front of this one, I just pulled out a ton of different collage pieces, just things that had colors that matched, or that I thought were interesting. I think I want to do this kind of interesting shoe. And I am going to trim it up just a little bit. I'm not going to worry about getting it directly to the edges or anything, but I want it to be more obvious that it's a high-heeled shoe. So I'm going to glue stick this down. Gotta be a little bit careful that I get the whole shoe. And then we're leaving the back. I will actually put a little something there on the back. I'm going to use Teal Stays On ink and a handmade stamp that I carved out of the Fun Foam. And I'm just going to stamp partially onto it. There we go. Okay, so that one started. Now let's see. I just have this piece of paper. I'm just going to add this. Again, I just went through my scraps and I just pulled out paper scraps that I thought matched the original page design. I have this piece of just a bit of scrapbooking paper, and I like this leafy part here, so I'm just going to kind of fake cut that out. And if you've got scrapbook papers that you don't use, but that you like the designs on, or part of the designs on them, this is a good way to use them. I think I'm going to use this here. I'm just going to cut it down so it doesn't go over top of my tag. I think before I put that down though, definitely, I'm just going to put some white. Just want to give it a little more visual interest. I need to clean my... I forgot glue stick all over it. Okay. Looks good. Now this is a heavy double-sided scrapbook paper. So then we have this side. I think I'm actually going to do some strips. And then I have that piece of tape left over. And then I've got this little tiny piece of it's a paint chip. And at some point in time, many moons ago, I did a swap, and I got a bunch of these little paint chips in that little stash swap. And this is just a page out of a art magazine. I'm just going to cut a small strip out of this. I'm just going to trim this side off. And so that's two sides of that, and I probably need to do something more with this one, but that's what I got right now. actually going to add these two pieces to it. Oops. There I go, bending it again. Okay. Let's see what else. I like black and white photography a lot. I think this is from an Armani ad. What else did I pull out here? I think I'm going to do, let's see, these blue poker chip. Well, I'm going to do these orange poker chips here. I'm actually going to do the orange and the red. I think I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to put the poker chips on this card tag. This is some Egyptian writing. Just going to add it partially onto there and then flip it over. Whoops. Go ahead and add it to the other side. Now this is the one that's the Shiva oil stick, so I kind of don't want to rub too much over it because I'll smear the whole thing. this one I have, this is actual sheet of wallpaper. I'm just going to take a chunk out of it. I just really like the pattern in it. I think I'm going to add it to here. I'm not going to wrap it around, I'm going to cut it off. And then I think I'm going to take, this is a book page. I'm going to take the title here. And I'm actually going to break this word up. So I'm going to use the word myth on one side. And then I'm going to use ology on the other side. And you can see how the sheet of oil stick is getting all over it. Alright. Still want something more here. And I don't really have anything else pulled out. I don't really. I'm going to use this bird. It's on this old book page. Okay, so then on the reverse of this, I printed out some of my recent paintings. And I'm just going to trim around her. And then I think I'm going to take a little bit more of this tape. I'm going to put that down. Probably should have put that a little higher. So I'm just going to do another piece. There we go, that's better. I'm just going to glue her down. Okay, so that's finished. We still have this one. Take a different one of my girls. And this one was just a close-up headshot. I'm going to offset it like that. I'm actually going to put her like that.
think I want to do another word. And I cut out I sit and cut out phrases and things out of magazines all the time. And really, I kind of just want one single word. I'm going to use this right here. It's actually a phrase. Because I'm going really dark with this, I'm gonna kind of like it there though. This is the thing with collage. You think you know what you're going to do, and then you change your mind. But yeah, I like it better here. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. So I think I'll use the third face that I printed out. I'm actually going to change this. The red darkened up a lot more than I anticipated and more than I wanted it to. So I'm actually going to change it a bit. And I'm going to introduce pink because there is some pink on my faces, and there's some pink on that other page, and I think it'll lighten this one up just a bit. Let's see how it's gonna look. Okay.
Okay. So let's see where we're at. We've got these. We have this one. We have this with the empty part here. We have this one. We have this. Nothing on this side. We have this one. And then we have this one. So for this one, I know I'm going to add something dark to the top of it. I just need to figure out I'm going to trim it up. And then I start getting some details in, and I'm going to add, if it'll show up, some hot pink pen on here. Okay. So there's that one. Now this one still is kind of boring. And I think just gonna give it some more color. Oops. Again, I'm gonna see if I can use my pen over this oil pastel. No, I didn't think I would be able to. So I'm gonna get my pink oil pastel. And I'm just gonna blend it right away. It's not quite what I had in mind. So I think I'll just use some pink paint. Because these oil pastels are mixable, they're mixing with the paint, so I'll just give it a minute and let that acrylic dry, and then I'll be able to come back. And then for this one, I'm just gonna edge it with black, I think.
for this one, I actually think I'm going to use this other foot here. So I just think this image of this woman's feet are pretty cool. When I go through, I'm looking to pick out the collage items that I'm going to use. I'm looking at, obviously, color, and then really just random stuff that appeals to me or that might be a bit odd. Things that I can take out of context. That's pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and glue stick this down. And now I'm just going to do basically doodling. When you get glue stick all over something, you use hand sanitizer because they're alcohol based. I just buy a big container of it. It'll cut the glue stick. Okay, I put a piece of paper down. I'm going to leave more of the doodling for after the page is constructed. I know I said I was going to start doing it, but I think I should wait. So I'm just going to add a little more pink to this, and even a little bit of the really light blue. And then I don't like this one at all, so I'm planning definitely to alter that here in just a minute. This pink paint has to stay on the surface, otherwise it fades away too much. I'll let that dry. This one, I think I want to add a word or something to the bottom. I don't care for how it looks, so I just need to dig through here really quick. I have to find a semi-small this will work. Yeah. And you can see there isn't a specific theme. But I find these kind of random collage can sometimes not
work really well without having a specific theme. I'm actually going to do the glue stick over here on the glass, which I don't think you guys can see in the camera, but and I do have a tendency to offset things just a bit to give the, it almost makes it look like it's in border. And then for this one, which needs something more, I'm going to add this word, these words, this little phrase on, which just says obsession of the month, which is making these little heavily textured little mixed media faces has definitely been my obsession this month. Didn't get any glue stick on that corner somehow. I love the convenience of glue stick, but I hate the sticky mess of glue stick. I think I'm pretty much done. Oh, I want to alter this one. I don't like, it's kind of boring. This says me, the actual word. It's kind of cute, but it's just not working for me. I'm going to do some more of this Egyptian writing. And I'm just going to do strip of it. I'm just going to keep layering strips until I like what I have, because right now I don't like it. And this is also just another mixed media piece out of a mixed media paint magazine, but I get the chance to add a little of that pinkish purple that kind of goes with his pants by using this strip. And then I'm going to use that, I'm pulling from the same image, and I'm just cutting small strips out. And so it ends up being very abstract. You can't really even tell what I'm pulling from. I think I got more glue stick on the front of that piece than I did on the back. I've got a cat on the other side of the door situation. I can hear her scratching like crazy on my bedroom door. So I need to go let her out. So I'm gonna pause again, I'll be right back. Alright. Just gonna take this little piece of this lace. Glue sticking lace down is kind of messy. It doesn't like to stick, and it likes to stretch. So we'll see if that stays on or not. Okay, I like this a lot better now. I'm going to trim the edges and see how it looks. Alright, and then this piece here is lifting. So I'm just going to add some glue stick there. You can see it's laced, isn't going to want to stick. That'll need time to dry. But I need to get this video out to you guys, so I'm just going to try to work with it. Okay, I think I pretty much am satisfied with the tags as they are. So I'm just going to clean up my mess real quick. And then hopefully this is going to come together pretty quickly. Okay, of the pieces that we don't want to cut this one, and really that's the only one I'm the most worried about. And the reason that I don't want to cut it is because I'm actually going to journal on it, and I'm going to do the journaling now before I construct the tip in, so that I don't have to try to journal on it after. I'm just checking the date. Okay, so I've got my journaling done, so I don't want to cut this one. So let's get all of our tags together. And put our journal. Kind of clean up my mess here a little. And it should be nice so that you can see it. Okay. So now consider the layout. I think I'm going to lay these in backwards. So the thing that I want to try to work out is not having too many of the faces on the same side. Let me see. If I put that one there, it's going to chop her head off. I'm going to put this one here. So I'm going to have a small amount there. And then this one can easily be cut here. And that's going to leave the bottom portion of her face. So I think that's going to go somewhere along there. And then this one, and then this one will just get chopped and not used. Okay, so best way to start, the way I'm going to connect these is with a stapler. So the best way to start is to staple the first two together. I kind of need to set them down so that I make sure I have them reasonably straight. Tricky. Okay, so this is approximately our first. Oh, I can't use that for my first one. It's going to have to be my last one. And the reason that I can't do that is because I can't tape over this, and I'm going to be connecting it with tape. So it's going to be these two. Probably a better way to do this. I think I know what that way is. I'm going to try to use a bowl clip. Okay, so this is our first portion of our page, and we're going to cut it right there. And it doesn't have to be perfect by the basic nature of how the pages work. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so then this is going to start the top of the page. And this is going to be even more tricky. That tiny little piece required 3 staples. Okay, so now we'll do this one. There's just no way around. I'm going to go ahead and staple it here. Okay. And then if I use this one, cutting it off right above her eyeballs, which I don't really want to do. It's very frustrating that I stapled these. I'm gonna unstaple them. Alright, I'm going to staple this one into place. This one didn't staple. I just feel like I'm making this harder than it is, which it would help if I could line up my staple properly. Alright, so then I need to cut it right there. So now this one, good thing I have a lot of staples. I'm going to try using a little piece of masking tape, maybe that'll help. Okay, so this one cannot be cut. So I'm going to place that one here. So then that'll leave me this. There we go, that'll work. So this one is going to be next, and I'm going to take my little piece of masking tape this time. Kind of tape it together so that I don't have to hold quite so much of it.
much easier. And I'm actually gonna do that again. Okay. So now I'm going to add this one. Smash that hard enough. Sure, I'm going to be able to see that all the way. I can't find my white pen. I'll just have to hope I can see it. Okay. So now it's just a matter of connecting this one. Oh, look at that. I actually didn't have enough. Wow. Should do something about that. Oh, I need that.
Now, about this last piece, I'm going to take a single tag. Doing that backwards. And that's kind of cute because I had set aside the words "the end," so that kind of works. And then for the back of it, I think I'll just do some patterned paper. I'm just going to trim it out. Okay. I'm just going to use some of the pink paint. On this side, and on this side the light blue, light aqua. And I left this extra long to sort of resemble a tag, or a tab, I should say. Tape. Phew. Took a lot longer than I thought it would. This will be a long video. Okay, so this is going to be our front. And that's, oh look, the two red shoes are side by side. Should have checked the back of it. And then I'm going to use the checkerboard tape to connect everything. So I'm just going to start by putting tape on the edge of this. And then flip it and get it positioned where I want it. And tape it down. And that is a tag tip-in. As I was building the page, I had the word ology here, and I thought, as I was working on it, I thought, you know, what this is I gotta. Well, that's not gonna work. I need a different journal. There we go. It's Tagology. Ah, darky. Okay, this video is probably pretty long already, so, and I talked through it, so unless I want to do a voiceover, I don't want to speed it up. So at this point I'm going to stop talking and I'm just going to speed up from here. Let me restart it.